Right now on Morning Rush, we're tracking widespread severe storms this morning. We've seen a number of tornado watches as well as warnings. We'll take a closer look at where the storms are now and who's in the strike zone. That's just seconds away.
And we're tracking Magnus. Our latest winter storm is bearing down on the upper Midwest. Find out who could see up to a foot of snow and where we could see a messy evening commute. We're going to time it all out for you.
Also, it is a mixed bag of weather across the country, and our weather experts are in the house. You see Carl Parker, you got Tom Nizzle. It's analysis that you'll only see right here on the Weather Channel. Morning Rush starts right now. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Morning Rush. I'm Reynolds Wolf.
And I'm Maria LaRosa. Stephanie Abrams live in New York for us. And Steph, we've had so many tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings. It's been really busy already this morning.
It has been, and a lot of people, unfortunately, I think, waking up early to the sounds of this. Those are tornado sirens outside of the Weather Channel. They were actually under a tornado warning. There is a watch that does include this area until 4 p.m. With more on that, we're going to go back to Maria and Reynolds.
And just hearing that, Steph, till 4 p.m., you know it's going to be a long afternoon for a lot of folks. Let's talk about what's breaking right now. We look at our breaking weather alert system, and you can see the severe thunderstorm warning that's been posted for Coosa and Chilton counties in Alabama. That's until 8:45 a.m. Eastern time, but that is within that tornado watch.
And what's really interesting is with much of this weather, we've already seen one component move through and then more residual shower activity, storms, and the threat of tornadoes. Take a look at this very quickly. We've got also a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Chilton County, also into Coosa County, and now a new severe thunderstorm warning. I know Carl is going to tell us what the very latest we can expect.
Hey guys, well, there is a lot of shear in the atmosphere, and so we've seen quite a bit in the way of rotation with these cells in parts of Georgia and Alabama, and certainly in Tennessee earlier today. But we're not seeing a tremendous amount of warmth in the low levels, so the updrafts aren't sustaining themselves. The storms aren't lasting very long. Now, that could change a bit going into the afternoon, and I'll show you the model here in a moment. First, I want to take you into Atlanta and show you what's happening here. There was a tornado warning on this cell right there. It came up on the west side. It is falling apart. No longer is there a tornado warning, but there is a new cell now just off to the south of the airport and along 85. No warning on that, but we'll keep our eyes on it. Also showing some signs of rotation, but again, these storms are tending to not last very long this morning. And in fact, as we expand the picture, you can see this big long line of thunderstorms from northeast Alabama back down into Mississippi. A lot of severe thunderstorm warnings along that line. There's going to be a very large damaging wind threat and a heavy rain threat, but we want to watch these individual cells that pop out ahead of that line, because oftentimes they can become more organized and longer lasting if they've got enough warm air to feed on. And thus far, even though we've seen rotation at various times in many of these cells, they just haven't lasted very long. They just don't continue to stick around very long. So here's a look at the timing over the next 24 hours. You can see that dominant linear mode with mostly a damaging wind threat coming into eastern Tennessee, northern Alabama through late morning. Some cells continuing to pop out ahead of that. But then watch what happens this afternoon. We see a new area of storms developing perhaps in southeastern Alabama. And this is the RPM model. It's a high-resolution model. Now, it is certainly not infallible, but what it's doing is it's considering all these factors. It's looking at the low-level shear in the atmosphere. It's looking at the amount of warmth that's available to these storms, and that is going to be peaking late this afternoon. And what it's showing is longer-lasting storms with evidence of rotation. You see that sort of curved appearance right there? So that would indicate the possibility of some longer-track tornadoes, perhaps in east central Alabama and central parts of Georgia, and maybe even into the south side of the Atlanta metro later this afternoon. Those storms then moving up into northeastern Georgia. Big line of storms coming through after that. Could be some embedded spins within that line, certainly. We saw that earlier today in Tennessee. And then those storms, larger storms, possibly moving into east central Georgia. I mean, look at that right there. That's that model certainly showing that there is the potential for big supercell storms later today. Then we go into tonight and you see the dominant linear mode here. So with certainly a damaging wind threat coming into Columbia, South Carolina, in into Raleigh, North Carolina late tonight, also over into Baltimore and D.C. We're going to see very strong winds in the low levels of the atmosphere, so these storms don't have to be very tall to tap into that strong wind. And then we'll watch that move up into New York City overnight tonight, and then much colder air is going to blast through and really scour things out during the day on Thursday. And we'll have much more on this coming up a little bit later in the show. Stephanie, over to you.
All right, Carl mentioned New York. Let's take you there. It's been very foggy here. We've had a southerly flow bringing up that warm, moist air, 44 degrees. It was straight up hot yesterday in New York City, and it's going to be another warm one. But once that front comes through, we'll get some faux pas, and it's going to cool everything off like it's doing in Nashville right now, dropping 15 degrees in 1 hour. I put the example up on my Twitter and Facebook page if you want to see it. So many of us are going to see that same thing happen. So as Carl was mentioning, we'll go through the timing really quickly because Carl actually just did it. Storms coming in later and then into the overnight and into the early morning hours. It might be a little bit on the wet side if you go to work super early. I'm just trying to tell you guys, our crew here. Okay, so here is that front. It's still back into the Midwest, the cold stuff. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But as that front comes through, it's going to dump a lot of rain here into the Northeast. So we have flood watches. That means conditions are favorable for flooding to happen. If you're in a flood-prone area, then you really need to be careful here. If a warning comes out for your area, that means that flooding is imminent or it's occurring. 1 to 2 inches. It doesn't sound like a lot, but that is a lot of rain. Let's have a look at what's going to happen in Philadelphia. Temperatures, again, going to be hot for this time of year into the 60s. But, Maria, they're going to go down, 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 down.
Well, Steph, you know what's going up, up, up? Delays right now in Philadelphia. So I'm going to pick up the story there. Get you on the road and in the air. In the air, not fun. On the road, getting to the airport, not fun in the Philly metro area, too. We have fog. The reason for the delays, and anyone flying into Philly, the New York metro, you know, low clouds, a kiss of death right now for travel. 100 minutes, an hour and 40-minute delays at Philadelphia. Right now, we're just over an hour delay in and around LaGuardia. Newark at about 15 minutes. But again, we have some reports of fog as visibility in some areas less than a quarter mile. And that's what we have in and around Newark. I want to take you to Chicago. No major delays right now. But keep in mind that through the day today, we're going to see the rain, and that's going to change over to some snow. That's going to reduce visibility. So on the road, and then again, getting to O'Hare, going to be very, very tricky. I want to take you to Atlanta, where, again, right now not seeing delays, but that line is just to the west. So watch out for strong thunderstorms. Tough travel for Atlanta's Hartsfield. Strong thunderstorms into the afternoon. And just want to mention, too, our own Mike Seidel just sending an email that he is in the air, 35,000 feet, coming into the front, heading to Atlanta right now about over Mississippi, Alabama. And the captain has discontinued service and running into a lot of heavy turbulence. So that's going to be a concern for a lot of flyers today, too. It's not going to be the smoothest of rides, unfortunately. So we'll keep tabs on that. Now let's take you quickly to Boston, where fog hasn't been too much of a problem, but you can see low clouds could be an issue later on today. Reynolds?
Okay, coming up, we're going to tackle the snowy side of the system. It's moments away. Keep it here.